I recently went through a pretty big change in my life about a month ago, and um, I lost a relationship that lasted about 2.5 years. And so I wanted to talk about how important, you know, understanding yourself is basically, in short. Um, this is a last second video. I am kind of posting because I wanted to post. I just have some thoughts. But ever since this app came out on the iPhone called Journal, it's just called Journal. It's just this app. I have been going ham on it. I mean, it's an awesome app. I never really journaled to say like I would, but I never like would make it a priority, or I never found it to be helpful at all because I never really like took it seriously. Um, but it's an amazing way to just understand yourself because when you when you block out um when you block out the noise and you play the game or you play music or you do something to make yourself not just hear your own thoughts, you find that over enough time you just start to think things that you might not necessarily be okay with. Like, I could tell you that a very close person in my life, they are older than me. They're 4-ish years older than me, and they don't necessarily, they just haven't grown up. And that's not to say that their life experiences up to this point have failed them. It's just like, if they had more the ability to realize what they were actually doing in their head and what was going on, then they genuinely would be in a better place right now. And it literally breaks my heart because I I mean that's a person I love very much, and they're kind of, I just don't really want to be around them anymore. Um and so I wanted to make a video on journaling and just like understanding your own thoughts, because throughout any hard time, like I went through a hard time month or more than a month now ago, and I just like, I found that the best way for me, and still the best way for me to think about things, process things, get over things, move on, is just to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling at that moment every time. I can scroll back in that journal app like 2 or 3 months of just daily long journals. Like I made just today I had like 3 journals that are all this long. And you might think that's excessive, but like I don't deem it as unproductive as if you're just like trying to understand yourself. You know, like for example, I found today that I don't like losing. Like, I've always had this, and I've always had like a need for validation, whatever. This is all pretty personal, but I found today that I lost at something, and for some reason I was like, I actually didn't like how I felt. Like I felt like I lost, and I didn't like that feeling. And so I tried to figure it out and do more research, and I found that it came from something in my past, which I'm not going to name, or at least partly from that. And I mean, and then I just write like, how do I deal with this? And then I write things. I literally had a conversation with ChatGPT the other day about this stuff, and it sounds stupid, but I mean, I love writing this stuff down because, like these videos, I think once I'm older, it'll give me the chance to look back and see what I was thinking at that time. And maybe all of it's stupid, but like, I genuinely need this like so much. I can't describe how much and how important this is, because I'm finding that with doing this enough and trying to understand myself, I'm like actively growing as a person, and hanging out with the people that I've been hanging out with all these years, like I did that recently, and not the people I've been hanging out with like all the time. I'm talking about like kids I necessarily used to hang out with a lot, but now it's been like not as much, and I found that I'm just genuinely not compatible with them anymore. I'm just not. And that's fucking hard to realize, cuz I grew up with them. I spent years with them. I did everything. I tried everything, and it's pretty fucking heart-wrenching to realize that like they just they just never really grew up. Um and not to say that I'm all grown up and all this, but like I just I'm just seeing things now that I'm like what are you doing? Like it's just hard, man. I mean, so if I have anything for you, no matter like what situation you're going through, you should genuinely open up that little journal app on your iPhone and just start writing. Um, and I don't feel like it's a chore, which is I love, because everything in my life right now, to an extent, feels like a chore. Um, that's why I've been using this a lot more. Um, but because every day is just working out or work or getting good sleep or eating enough or stretching or meditating or reading, like everything is work, right? But and that's my paradigm is fucked. But I don't know, I feel like journaling and spending time actually trying to understand yourself is just so important. I grew up not doing this, and god, I wish I had. Like when I had a thought about myself, I would just let the thought just pass them out of my head and forget about it. And when you take time to write down these thoughts and understand why you're feeling, like you can genuinely grow from those things and um find yourself in a different place. And I think what's cool about this is that once you do that, you find a way to be yourself. You find that you stop caring about what people think. That was a huge thing for me. I grew up always caring what people thought, and that comes down to my validation problem and family or whatever that came from. But besides the point, like I say only in the last year or two that I've actually fully been able to just like not give a fuck and be myself. And that's I wish that on everybody because it's the best feeling you can ever feel. Genuinely just not putting up a mask. And oh man, I wish I could tell everybody I know this. Um just I don't know. If you find yourself having to put on multiple masks for who you're talking to and what you're doing, you need to open up this journal app and start reevaluating your life. Um, and I get it. If it's work and you actually need to put on a face, like that makes sense. But if you're hanging out with two different friend groups or something, or two different, or a friend group and your family, and you just need to treat everybody differently depending on where you are, like I can tell you, I act the same way with my friends, my family, my online friends, my grandparents, my new roommates, college people, like everybody I know, my brother, like everybody I know, women, everybody, sorry, everybody I know, I just act how I feel because that's just me. Um, I don't know. I just realized that once I started writing these things down, I was able to actually understand that. Um, I genuinely think that this stuff is going to pay off for me the most out of anything I do. I mean, sure, the constant grind and resistance battle and cold calling or the outreach or the systems, like all this shit is going to help. Sorry, I just got a weird notification. All this stuff is going to help, but I think the most important thing is to at least just understand yourself. I mean, it's been taking me like weeks to fully understand why I suddenly felt a hole in my life. Like genuinely, I felt a hole. All of a sudden, it got filled, and now it feels like a hole again. And I actually totally understand why that is, and that I just need more time to process the stuff. Like I don't know. It's really fucking deep. But I mean, if I have anything to take from this video, it's shit quality. This video, I'm not even using my camera. Might not even make a thumbnail or care. Just start journaling. It doesn't fucking hurt. It doesn't have to be called journaling. Just reflect on yourself. Think about what you think about. Write about what you think about, and try to understand it. Um, I mean, like, genuinely. Like, if you have a thought and you're like, huh, why did I just think that? Or like, why do I feel this way? And you start writing about it, and you just start writing and writing. Eventually, you'll find like, oh, that's why I thought that, or that's why I think this way. You know, I mean, I could pull up hundreds of examples, and it doesn't have to be just within yourself. You know, sometimes I journal about work and things and solutions to my problems or whatever. But like, I don't know. I mean, I have one journal here called "What the fuck do I do with my time?" Um, I wrote this about being masculine and like how like what does it mean? Like I'm like like, like this stuff is deep. I don't want to even read that because it's just like damn. Um for some strange reason I find myself battling myself. And I just go into it like a lot, you know? Um Sometimes I find it sort of hard to connect with my friends. Why is that? I feel like the oddball out, you know? They're talkative, understanding, supportive. But like and I just keep going. You know, there's just so much shit to think about. And people really when they have these thoughts, they open up Instagram Reels or TikTok and just forget about anything they were thinking because it doesn't matter or it doesn't directly affect their situation, but it does. You know, I mean, I think it's so fucking important to just sit there and just think about your thoughts. Like, just have a thought, have a feeling, and just think about it. And, like, write it down and try to understand yourself a little bit better. Once I started doing this stuff, like I said, I just stopped needing to tell other people my thoughts, which is also that thing of validation I talked about earlier. And that was a fucking powerful thing. When I found out and had that self realization that I just didn't have to tell people my thoughts, I was like, wait, wow. Like, for example, like yesterday, I had a ton of moments my day where I wrote down the journal. I was like, there's a ton of self evolution, sort of say, that I've kind of experienced yesterday. And I thought at the end of the day, I was like, how do I package this information so I can like tell my parents or like tell somebody I know? And it's like, wait, I don't need to because I just have myself. And that's a fucking weird feeling. Maybe it's just because I've been in a relationship for so long I haven't realized that. But it's so cool. I probably sound like a geek. But honestly, I think the I think it's just crucial to understand yourself, man. Like I think it's worth spending hours just writing about yourself or recording videos. That's the main reason I said that in one video why I think you should record. I think it's my best video at this point, but like I genuinely think that the reason why you should do this, record, journal, write down your thoughts, write down your feelings, and just try to understand yourself, the reason for all this is just so you can have that self reflection. If I kept forgetting the new changes of myself and kept forgetting the thoughts that I'd have and the feelings I'd feel, I would probably still be a shitty person. You know? And it's so relieving when you find that, like, you can change and you can change fast and you can become the person that you want to be. Um, and be comfortable with your fucking self. You know? I can't tell you how long I spent in my life just not being comfortable in my own skin. I mean, it's hard. But finally, in the last year or so, getting to a point where I am, and that is just amazing. So, and I owe all of this, bottom line, to this app right here, and just journaling in general. I have notebooks in the corner over there, that I used to do this on before this app came around. But please journal. If you're a bad person, if you're narcissistic, if you're, I know, fuck ton of people that are like this. If you're just genuinely not a good person, and you don't realize that, and if you do realize that, you spend your time distracting yourself so you don't realize that, pick up the pen. Pick up the pen.